Hey, it's the Empire, Geobox Empire, Baxter Boxing. Now, man, big news. My boy Danny Swift Garcia says he's coming back in September, and he's most likely going to fight Errol the True Spence or Manny Pacquiao. But most likely in this article, he talks about fighting Errol Spence more than anyone else. Now, this is a really big deal because after the lockdown, money's tight. Everyone knows money's tight right now, and if you're gonna come back, you gotta come back with a bang. And Danny Garcia, man, I've seen the guy, and he's looking like he's been putting on weight, and that's a good thing because Danny Garcia is a smaller fighter fighting at 147. Right now, Danny Garcia is a really extremely skilled fighter. He's had some career-defining wins. I think the most exciting win in his career was Zab Judah. That fight was an extremely competitive fight. Danny Garcia overcame in that fight, and he showed grit in that fight. Right, he fought Zab Judah in his hometown. He fought him in Brooklyn. Right, that was a really big win for him. That was a back and forth fight, and Danny Garcia proved that the guy has heart and he's not going to just lay down. Right, one other big fight for Danny Garcia was Lucas Matisse. And at the time, Lucas Matisse was seen as an animal, seen as a power puncher, seen as unstoppable, right? Lucas Matisse used to walk through everyone, right? Matisse was walking through everyone, right? I mean, they didn't give Matisse all these decisions, but in my opinion, he beat Zab Judah. They didn't give it to him. He beat Devin Alexander. They didn't give it to him. But then he said, okay, I got to take out the judge's hands, and then he ended up stopping Lamont Peterson by knockout, right? So, Lucas Matisse was actually incredibly talented, a phenomenal boxer, and he just happened to have extreme amount of power. Danny Garcia, man, that was his breakout fight. That showed he could fight a fighter that was young like him, that was hungry like him, and that had certain advantages over him, i.e. such as power, right? Danny Garcia showed that his speed overwhelmed Matisse and his devastating body punching and his combination punching, right? So that being said, man, Danny Garcia has a resume filled with different kind of styles, right? He has Amir King Kong, like I said earlier, Zab Judah, a southpaw, and a power puncher in Lucas Matisse. And that's not even to mention the fights at welterweight he had, win, lose, or draw against Keith Thurman and Sean Porter, which I thought he did good in both those fights. There's never a fight where Danny Garcia got completely blown out. It was always competitive fights. That being said, I thought Danny Garcia, the reason why he really lost to Sean Porter and Keith Thurman is because he was a small welterweight. But I think he's got accumulated to the weight, and now, like I said earlier, he's gotten bigger and he's accumulated to the weight. I think he's going to be hitting harder than he usually has because he's been at the weight for a couple years now. So the Danny Garcia that fought Sean Porter or Keith Thurman is not going to be hitting as hard as Danny Garcia today just because he's been eating good, he's been eating steaks, he's been chilling, and his body's naturally accumulated to the weight. So I think that Danny Garcia is getting slept on, man. I think he's a phenomenal fighter. And in my opinion, I think at welterweight, he fought the most styles. And as far as a complete resume, right now, besides, like I said, Terrence Crawford, he's fought the most styles of fighters, right? And you know what they say, styles make fights. Danny Garcia has fought and seen every kind of style. He's beaten power punchers, he's beaten fast fighters, he's beaten cagey veterans like a Zab Judah or Herrera. He's beaten just about every style you can put in front of him, right? So we're gonna see how this whole thing plays out. In my opinion, that Zab Judah fight, I like Zab Judah. I think he's a phenomenal fighter, and that Zab Judah who came to fight Danny Garcia, that's a more cagey fighter than Errol Spence Jr. Extremely more cagey because Zab Judah's been fighting for forever. Zab Judah is extremely cagey. He's a cagey veteran. So that being said, man, Danny Garcia fighting elite level opponent like Zab Judah, I mean, how much would that translate over to Errol Spence? Errol Spence comes forward more, but Danny Garcia is a power puncher, and while Errol Spence hits hard, he wears you down. Danny Garcia is really trying to put you out with one hit. So we're gonna see how this whole thing plays out. One thing that people gotta understand is when Lamont Peterson fought Errol Spence Jr., there's times in that fight where Lamont Peterson was hitting him with left hooks, and that's a bad sign because that's Danny Garcia's bread and butter. So we're gonna see how this whole thing unfolds, man. Obviously, the truth, Errol Spence. I mean, nothing needs to be said. This guy has been beating everyone, but I believe that once you start beating people and you're like undefeated, the problem is people start being this relaxing on how much they engage their opponent if they're undefeated, especially if they're fighting a guy who's not undefeated along with them, right? Let's say Errol Spence is undefeated and he's fighting a guy with an L or two. He's gonna know he's gonna get the benefit of the doubt. Errol Spence is gonna know he's gonna get the benefit of the doubt, so he's not gonna fight the whole 3 minutes every round. He's gonna take a break. He's gonna walk around a little bit, and they're gonna say he's controlling the fight. That's the problem with being undefeated, In that Sean Porter fight, I thought Errol Spence, while I thought he won it, I thought he barely won the fight. And I thought he was lax way too much in that fight, and he let Sean Porter do too much. Danny Garcia in this fight is not going to be letting Errol Spence have any rest, and this is going to be a chess fight. It's going to be high-speed chess. Danny Garcia is going to come forward, and because that's what he does best. You can't just try to outbox your way to victory against Errol Spence because he's undefeated. You got to really take the belt from the champion. So I think Danny Garcia is going to come bring it, man. We're going to see how this whole thing unfolds. There's a lot of questions right now with Errol Spence with this whole car accident thing. People don't know if he's at his prime anymore. We're going to see, man, because that car accident could have definitely affected Errol Spence Jr. to the point where maybe he's not the same. Maybe he's hiding injuries he didn't talk about, Anyway, man, let me know you guys feel about it, though. Danny Garcia coming back. Says it's most likely the truth, Spence. Like, comment, subscribe. This is the Empire. Geobox Empire. Peace. Empire.